there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path, which is located in Forest City, North Carolina. For all those of you who are on our Facebook page or you're an email insider, you're expecting to see a pearl cuff bracelet today using memory wire, but surprise! It is totally different. I was sitting here on Wednesday. Normally our video comes out on Thursday, and I was sitting here on Wednesday coming up and working on a project for the following week, which would be the week of the 4th. And I thought, boy, you know, I sure hate that I did not come up with a really fun July 4th project. So I was working on a new beaded bead that I came up with, and all of a sudden light bulbs went off and I was like, oh my god, that would look so cute because it's kind of like a firecracker. So that's what I want to show you today so that you can get these whipped up and made next week if you're here in the US for the 4th of July, which is our Independence Day. So, to make these earrings, it takes very minimal supplies. That's the great thing about it. And most of you probably have some of these laying around your house. But what you're going to need is 12 bugle beads. Now, these are just regular bugle beads, and I'm using silver. You're going to need about a cap full, about 1 gram of a size 11 seed bead. I'm going to use Silverline Cobalt. Then you're going to need 12 3mm red bicone crystals. On top of that, you're also going to need 1 gram or 1 little capful of a size 15 seed bead, and I'm going to be using the rainbow crystal. You're going to need 2 head pins, a pair of ear hooks. Let's see, what am I missing? 2 6mm bicones. This is going to be for the bottom of the earring. I'm going to be using a sapphire AB, and then you're going to need 2 4mm bicones. I'm using a red for the top, and then the only other thing you're going to need is a size 12 beading needle and about 1.5 yards of 6-pound Fireline. I wouldn't go over 6 pound. I tried it with some 10 pound and it got really tight, so I would probably just stick with an 8 or a 6 pound. You're going to need 1.5 yards, but if you'll cut that 1.5 yards in half, that's how much you need for 1 earring. So I'm going to show you the earring, and then I'm going to show you an alternative pattern that I came up with also, so that if the one that I show you is not blingy enough, maybe the second one will be. So go ahead and get your materials together, get your needle threaded, and then we'll get started. So to get started, I've got my needle threaded with my Fireline, and I'm going to thread on 1 size 11 seed bead. I'm going to let this bead drop all the way down, and I'm going to leave myself enough tail to the bottom here that I can go back and add or stitch off my project. I'm going to come back up through the same bead, so this will become my stop bead, but it's also a bead actually in the design, okay? So it's bead number 1. I'm going to pick up another 11, 1 bugle bead, and 2 more 11s, so that when you pull them down, you'll have 2 11s, a bugle, and 2 11s. I'm really excited to show you this because this is going to show you how to do odd count peyote, and in 3 years I don't think I've ever showed how to do odd count peyote. Pick up 1 11, skip the last 11, and then go through the next 11. I'm going to put my finger on it and pull. Pick up 1 bugle bead, skip the bugle, and then go through the next 11, just the 1. Put your finger on it and pull. Okay, so this is what you've got so far. Let me get it straightened here. There we go. Okay, now I can't pick up another bead and do regular peyote stitch. In odd count, you have to do a funky little turnaround. So I'm going to go ahead and take my needle and go through that last size 11 seed bead. I'll pick up 1 11, and I'm going to come right back through that second 11. Okay, so I'm skipping the first one and going through the second one so that when I pull, now that puts the bead there, so it's just like this end where I can do the peyote stitch. But I actually need to be coming out of this bead right here. So I'm going to come through the first bugle bead, back up through the second bugle bead, and be careful not to get your thread caught there. And then I've got to make almost like a triangle shape. I'm going to go through the 11, the 11, and then back through the top 11. So I'm going to go through the 2 11s to the left, and then through the 11 that I added when I did my funky little odd count turnaround. Alright, so I'm going to pick up an 11, and I'm going to go through the bugle bead, pick up an 11, and go through the last bead on the row. So I'm skipping the one bead and going through the top bead of the next little one there. Now I'm ready to continue. I'm back to this side, so I'm going to continue regular peyote stitch. So I'm going to be picking up 111 and going through back this way towards the 11. Pick up one bugle bead, skip the bugle, and go through the 11. Now, I'm back to the odd side. The odd side will be the side that your tail's on. So you know every time you get back to the side that your tail's on, that's going to be the side that you have to do the funky little turnaround. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through that last 11 on the end. Pick up 111, and I'm going to come back through the 11 right before the bugle. And pull. And so what this is going to do is this is going to put that 11 into place where I need it to come back out. Now I've got to do the funky turnaround part. So I'm going to come through the middle bugle. Okay, so this is the second bugle. Back up through the third bugle, which was the one that I just added. And again, be careful not to get your thread caught there. And then I'm going to do the funky turnaround again. So I'm going to go through this 11, and then come back through the 11 that I added for my turnaround. So I'm going through 2 11s, just like this. Pull that on through. And then I'm going to work back towards the other way and go through this 11. Pick up 111. And go through the bugle. Pick up 111. And go through the last 11 on the row. Now I'm going to work back the other way doing regular peyote stitch, so it's 111 and go through the 11 sticking up. Pick up one bugle and go through the 11 across here. Now remember, I'm to the tail side, so I've got to add my bead and do my funky turnaround. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the last 11 here on the row. Pick up 111 and come back through the 11 right before the bugle. Now to my funky turnaround. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come through down through the third bugle. And then back up through the fourth bugle, which was the one I just added. Now I have to get around to do my funky turnaround, so I'm going to go through the 2 11s there to the left. and then back down through the 11 that I added, so that now I'm ready to continue. So I'm going to pick up 111, and I'm going to go through the bugle, $111, and I'm going to go through the last 11 here, sticking up. I'm going to work back to the top, so I'm doing regular peyote stitch. So I'm going to pick up 111, come through the 11, sticking up, pick up 1 bugle, go through the 11 here that's sticking up. Now again, I'm to the end with the tail, so I'm doing that funky turnaround. So I've got to add my bead. So I'm going to go through the last bead here on the row. I'm going to pick up 111, and I'm going to come back down through the 11 right before the bugle. And now I've got to be coming out of that same bead that I just added, so I've got to do that funky turnaround. So I'm going to go through the 4th bugle, down through it towards myself, and then up through the 5th bugle, and then I got to do the funky turnaround part, still got to get there. So I'm going to go through the 2 11s here to the left, the bottom and the top one, and then through that top bead sticking up. So far I have 5 bugle beads. I need 6 total. So I'm going to pick up 111 and go through the bugle, 111, and go through the bead sticking up here on the end. I'm going to work a regular peyote stitch, working back the other way, so I'm picking up 111, going through the 11 sticking up, pick up 1 bugle, go through the 11 sticking up there, and now I've got to do my last turnaround. So I'm going to go through the last bead on the row, not picking up anything, pick up 111, come right back through the 11 before the bugle. I'm going to go down through the 5th bugle, up through the 6th bugle, and then I've got to come around, so I'm going through the 2 11s to the left, and then the 11 that I added. Pick up 111 and go through the bugle, and then pick up 111 and go through the last bead on the row. Now you're ready to fold it, and we're going to zip it up. But before we do that, you want to find the little loop here on the first bead that we made into our stop bead, and you want to pull that out, and then we're going to fold the piece in half. So my thread is coming out of the lower 11 on the right. I'm going to take my needle and go through the 11 right across from it on the left. I'm going to go through the 11 that's sticking up here on the right. I'm going to go through the bugle bead on the left. Through the 11 sticking up on the right, and then the last 11 sticking up on the left. Then take your needle, come right back down through the 11 on the right, and then back up through the one on the left. Alright, Now, you have the little tiny tube bead finished with the odd count, and you're ready to do your embellishments. So you're going to pick up a 3mm bicone and 3 11s. Let these drop all the way down. Skip the 3 11s and go back down through the bicone and that same top 11 that you're coming out of. And then come up through the next 11. Be sure when you pull that those 3 little 15s make your little picot shape. Pick up 1 3mm and 3 15s. Let those beads drop. Skip the 3 15s and go back down through the crystal and the 11. And then go up through the next 11. And you're going to continue adding these little embellishments until you have 6 of the bicones added here along the top. Once I finished adding the embellishments, I then took and tied off both the threads. And this is what you're left with. You're left with a tube bead with embellishments on one end. So I've got a head pin that has got a little ball here on the end, and I'm going to thread on a 6mm bicone, and I'm going to thread through the tube from the bottom, and then thread on a 4mm bicone. And so when you pull that down, that helps to flare out all the little embellishments. And then once you do that, all you have to do is make your loop for the earring. I did a wrapped loop. It holds it nice and tight on there. Once that's complete, you can then take your ear hook. And I don't want to lose these, so I'm going to use a little pair of lever back ear hooks. I'm going to open that loop, thread on the earring, and then close the loop back. And for those of you who've never used lever backs, they open like that. This part goes in your ear, and then you close it so that you have a really cute firecracker looking bead. Now, if this is not blingy enough and you want more bling, you can always do it like this one that I did, where I did the embellishment on the bottom and on the top. And instead of putting a 4mm on the top, I added a 6mm. So you can see there's quite a bit of a difference there, and it just depends on how frilly and blingy you want to go. But there are 2 different examples of how to do a really fun 4th of July earring. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that you'll be able to make you a pair of odd count firecracker earrings to wear for our 4th of July holiday. For those of you who don't live in the States, you can always do these in different colors. You can do them in your flags or your country's colors and wear them on a day that's special to you guys. I just thought these were so much fun, and I just loved them. As Jill Wiseman said in a video a couple of weeks, she was in love with her own design, and that's kind of how I feel about these. So what's going to happen over the next few weeks is next week we'll do the video that was supposed to be today. So it'll be a really pretty pearl cuff bracelet on memory wire. And then the following week, I'm going to revisit this project again, showing it to you in a little bit of a different way. I'm going to do a bracelet so that you can kind of learn. If you didn't really pick up on the odd count, we will have the pattern for sale on our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. And then if you're still having trouble, then hopefully in 2 weeks, I can kind of maybe do it again, bead totally again for you so that you can see again how to do the odd count peyote stitch. Like I said, we will have kits and the pattern for sale on our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. And I know I'm going to get questions because I have kind of every week here lately about my nails. what have I got on my nails? My nails are a product called Jamberry Nail Decals. And what they are is, it's a nail decal that has adhesive on the back of it, so that you heat it up and you put it on your nail and it won't damage your nail. These last me about 7 solid days, and then I take them off and put something else on them because I just love them. Everybody loves them so much that I've actually started selling them because they're such, but oh man, they make the best designs. And if you have little girls, they have a product called Mommy and Me, and it's where they make them in little mini versions so that you and your little girl or your granddaughter, your niece, whoever can wear the same ones that you have on. So they're a lot of fun. If you want to check out Jamberries, because I mean, I'm in love with them. I spend as much money on those as I do my beads because I just love them. But if you want to check them out, this is my website for Jamberries. kellyrDale.jamberrynails.net. Again, kellyrDale.jamberrynails.net. And if you go to that web address, you can look at the Jamberry nail decals. You can purchase those from the website, and they'll send them straight to you. If you do that, it takes about 4 or 5 business days to get. And right now they have a special where if you buy 3 pages of them, which will either do 2 sets of nails or nails and toes, you get a 4th one for free. So I've ordered those a couple of times, but I love them. So that's what I've been wearing on my nails for the last couple of weeks. So anyways, I hope that you guys enjoy, and we will see you again next week for the pearl cuff bracelet. So bye-bye.